my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vilas Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandapad.
Yes, Maharaj, we can start, Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu. Om Jnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So welcome everyone to our ongoing study of the Srimad Bhagavatam at the level of Bhakti Vaibhava. And we're looking at the section on the Vedic cosmology. We began at chapter 15 actually, which was about the descendants of Maharaj Priyavrata. And then we went on to study about Jambudweep. And we spent a number of classes hearing about Jambudweep and the different regions of Jambudweep. And remember, Jambudweep is situated in the center of Bhumandala. And Bhumandala is the seventh planetary system from the top of the universe. So there's higher planets above Bhumandala, there's also lower planets. Bhumandala is central, in the center of the universe. So we heard about Jambudweep, which is in the center of Bhumandala, and in the center of Jambudweep is Mount Meru. And Mount Meru is on the island of Ilavritavash. Ilavritavash, where Lord Shiva is the key personality, and he's worshipping Lord Sankarshan. So we heard about the prayers which he offers. Then we went on to hear about the other different regions. Actually, Jambudvip is divided into 9 regions. And after the 9 regions, let's see, 9 regions because of the 9 sons of Bharat Maharaj. Now, when we reach Srimad Bhagavatam, we get information about how Maharaj Yudhisthira and Maharaj Parikshit, they were ruling also this Bhumandala, or at least Jambudvip. Jambudvip, they were ruling. And the Pandavas also would come here. It's described when Maharaj Yudhisthira wanted to perform Rajasuya sacrifice, at that time he sent the Pandavas in different directions. So Arjuna, he came to Jambudvip. And the people in Jambudvip told him that, oh, you know, why are you coming here? We're very peaceful here. We just enjoy here, right? Remember the description of the life in that region of Jambudvip? It was like Treta Yuga. It was all enjoyment. And they said to Arjuna, why are you coming here, disturbing us with all your weapons and things? You look like you want to fight, looking for battle. And Arjuna said, well, my brother's going to perform Rajasuya sacrifice, so if you agree, you should give some gold to help us to perform the yajna, and then I won't have to fight. There won't be any problem. So they have a lot of gold there, and they gave Arjuna a lot of gold, and he came back for the Rajasuya yajna. He brought more than anyone. So that's how he got the name Dhananjay. He brought all his gold, a lot of gold from Jambudvip. He brought it back for the Rajasuya yajna. So Bharat Maharaj, he was ruling Bhumandala. Rishabdev, he was ruling Bhumandala. Maharaj Yudhisthira, Maharaj Parikshit, they were ruling Jambudvip. So in other yugas, in the Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga, they could go to these places. Even in Dwapara Yuga, Maharaj Yudhisthira, people like Arjuna and like that, qualified people, they could go to Jambudvip. But in Kali Yuga, nobody's qualified. We're all unqualified. We're stuck here in this Bharata Khanda. Right? We explained that Bharat Vars, which is on the southern side of Jambudvip, that is divided into 9 divisions, and we are on the southernmost region, along the side of the saltwater ocean, and it's known as Bharat Khanda. So we're restricted. We're not eligible to go to other places. Just like, you know, going to the moon, Prabhupada said, can't go to the moon. You got to be you have to have very special qualifications. So what to speak of going to the moon? We can't even go to Jambudvip. We can't go to these other different regions in Jambudvip. Although Bharat Vars is part of Jambudvip, we cannot go to the other regions of Jambudvip. Okay, so these different, we heard about the descent of Mother Ganga also, how Mother Ganga came from the hole in the universe created by the big toe of Lord Vamanadev. It came into this universe and it goes first to, where does it go first? Who remembers? When the Ganga comes in, who remembers where the Ganga goes? Yes, Mataji?
Brahmaloka.
Brahmaloka. Yeah, Lord Brahma comes, Lord Brahma offers obeisances, he offers respects to Mother Ganga. And then from Brahmaloka, where does it go?
Dhruva.
Yes, right, to Dhruvaloka. And it spends some time there in Dhruvaloka. And then after Dhruvaloka, where does it go? The Saptarishis, right. Who else resides on Dhruvaloka beside Dhruva Maharaj? Do you know? Do you know anybody else who's living there on Dhruvaloka?
Lord Vamanadev Maharaj.
Lord Vamanadev? No.
Shirodaksha Vishnu?
Yes, I think Shirodaksha Vishnu, right. Lord Vamanadev, he went down to Patalaloka there with Bali Maharaj. Or Lord Vamanadev is, he's either there at Patalaloka with Bali Maharaj, or is it Sutapaloka? And then if he's not there, then he's in the heaven, he's in Swarg. But Dhruvaloka is Shirodaksha Vishnu, yes, the super soul in the heart of all living entities. And then after the Saptarishis, then where does it go? After
Moon.
Sorry?
Moon planet.
The moon, right, goes to see Chandradev, goes to the moon planet, and then from the moon planet, then it comes on to the top of Mount Meru and divides into 4. On the east side, it becomes the Sita, and on the west side, Chakshusha, on the north side, Bhadra, and on the south side, Alakananga. So the Alakananga, all these 4 different branches of the Ganga, it falls down Mount Meru, but amazingly enough, it doesn't touch Ilavritavash. Now, Mount Meru is situated there in Ilavritavash, but when the Ganga falls down, it doesn't fall in Ilavritavash, it goes to the outer regions of Jambudvip. It falls on the outer regions, and from the tops of the mountains, it comes down to the plain, and then flows into the saltwater ocean. And from the saltwater ocean, then flows down to the lower regions to liberate the sons of Maharaj Sagar. So we heard about the descent of Mother Ganga, how she comes. By hearing about the descent of Mother Ganga, we are able to get more idea about the cosmology of the universe. Alright, so we heard about the descent of Mother Ganga, and we heard about the different regions in Jambudvip and how the different people offered prayers. Right? And then we heard about all the glories of Bharatvarsha and how the demigods in Swarg, they're all hoping that they see next time when they take their birth in Bharatvarsha, they're not going to spend their time to do piety, but they want to do devotional service. Because by doing devotional service, they can be sure to get the ultimate goal of life. They said just to come up and down, to go up to the heavenly planets and come back down, come up and down, just this enjoyment, flickering enjoyment, right? Chapala sukha, flickering enjoyment. Some enjoyment in the heavenly planets for 10,000 years or so, and then they come back. And then they have to do more piety, and then they go up again and enjoy, and then come back like this, up and down. So the demigods say, we don't want to waste that opportunity. Taking birth in Bharatvarsha, we want to use it to go back to Godhead. And we also heard how they view the worship of demigods. Now, we're going to go on today to chapter 20, and we're going to hear how different regions of Bhumandala, they worship different demigods. maybe you remember previously, in the previous chapter, chapter 19, we heard about the demigods, the worship of the demigods. How, let me show you. Yeah, it was in text number 26, chapter 19, text 26, there. Talks about demigod worship and how people in Bharatvarsha, they're fond to worship demigods. Now, is that acceptable for devotees? Devotees, we can also worship demigods, right? Who worship demigods? What are some examples of devotees who worship demigods? Ramakrishna Prabhu, you can tell us.
Yes, Maharaj. Those who worship demigods, is that what your question, Maharaj?
Yeah, demigod. I want to know which devotees worship demigods.
Okay. Those devotees who are less intelligent, as told by Bhagavad Gita also by Krishna, and those who are who desire for quick material success and who do not have adequate faith in Krishna's dealings, these are the people who are referred here as apahrita jnana.
Is that always the case?
Mostly that's the case.
Can you give some examples, exceptions, some very good devotees, pure devotees who also worship demigods?
Well, I'm not able to quickly recollect someone like that.
All right, we'll open it up. Someone else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, Mataji?
Maharaj Prithu?
Huh?
Maharaj, I would recollect Maharaj Bharata. He actually worshipped all the different demigods, considering them to be the limbs of the Supreme Lord.
That's the example I was looking for, yes. Bharat Maharaj, right. You can explain more? He worshipped, how did he worship?
He considered that each and every demigod to be different limbs of the Lord, and thereby worshipping them was with the intention of satisfying the Supreme Lord, as the demigods, as the part and parcel and the servants of the Supreme Lord. He was not aspiring for a separate kind of a benefit from them, but he was aspiring for the all-inclusions of his worship.
Can you give some examples of which parts of the body do some demigods represent? Can you think of some example?
Like the mouth represents the fire.
The mouth represents the fire, the sacrificial fire.
The eyes represent the sun is represented as the eyes.
Yes, the sun is the eyes.
Yeah.
And
also it is referred like Mitra and Varuna are also represented in the evacuation or the genitals part of it, like that.
okay. Indra is like the arm of the Lord.
Arms of yes, Indra is the arms.
Indra is like the arm. The upper planets are like the upper part of the body, the head part of the body, and then the hellish lower regions are like the feet of the Lord. So,
as the Satyaloka or the Brahma is represented with the forehead and so on.
yes. Of course, the gopis, they also worship Katyayani. They worship Katyayani to get Krishna as a husband. That was a very special case. But Bharat Maharaj is the proper example, that he worshipped the demigods. And, well, he didn't actually worship the demigods, but when they did the yagyas, because he was a ruler, he was a king, so he was required to attend many different ritualistic ceremonies, and they would offer many different oblations to different demigods, but he would always see the offerings and the oblations that they're offering to the demigods as parts of the body of the Supreme Lord. He saw everything in relation to Vasudeva, Lord Krishna. And so that was his perfection, his devotion, his pure devotion. So here, in this next chapter, we're going to hear about how the demigods are also worshipped. In the previous chapter, Prabhupada spoke, as you mentioned, about Sakama devotees. Sakama devotees, people like, who was the Sakama Bhakta? Paramananda? Sakama Bhakta? Who worshipped the Lord with material desires?
Dhruva Maharaj?
Yes, right. Dhruva Maharaj, yes. Anybody else? You can think of another one who was also having material desires, distress?
Gajendra.
Right, yes, Gajendra. So their worship was not pure, it was Sakama Bhakta, but they became pure. They became pure. So that's the arrangement of the Lord, that He can change the Sakama devotee into the Akama devotee. From a devotee with material desires, they become a devotee with no material desires. The Krishna arranges to give them shelter at His lotus feet. So worshipping demigods it's not against the principles of devotional service if we have the proper understanding. But it's not, Prabhupada explains, he said, Krishna doesn't say that we should worship Him indirectly. Rather, Krishna says we should worship Him directly. Manmana bhava madbhakto, right? Krishna never speaks about worshipping Him indirectly. Prabhupada gives the example, he said, just like if somebody gives you a massage, so they massage your legs, but you benefit, the whole person benefits. Or somebody they may give some nice treatment for your hand, some little exercise for your hand to loosen the muscles, or maybe your shoulders get stiff or something. So they're giving service to one part of the body, but the person benefits. We benefit from that. So in the same way, when someone offers something to the Lord, if they offer it to one part of the Lord also benefits. So the Lord also accepts that offering, and He's pleased. But direct worship is always recommended, rather than just worshipping some part of the Lord. Alright, so we're going to go on and to hear about the other regions of Bhumandala, because we spent a lot of time looking at Jambudvip. Now we're going to look at the region. Jambudvip is in the center of Bhumandala. We're going to look at the rest of Bhumandala. And we're told how there are different islands around Bhumandala. And we're given this information, we're given details that they're all around the center. Jambudvip's in the center, and then they're like discs which come one after the other. And between each region of land, tract of land, there's an ocean of different liquids. So we're going to hear about these things. We have first of all, we have the island of Plastabdvip, right? The island of Plakshadvip, and then Samalidvip, and then Kushadvip, and then Krochadvip, and then Sakka Dweep, and then finally Pushkara Dweep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 islands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 islands, right? Because Jambudweep was the 7th one, and we're finished with Jambudweep. We're going to look at these 6 islands tonight, along with what's outside the islands, after the islands, and we get more information of what goes on there. So I thought we could divide it up among you and give each group an island to take, and you can tell us what's going on in these different islands. Right? How many people do we have in the class?
Maharaj, we have 16, Maharaj.
16. Okay, so we have how many islands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 islands. 6 into 18. So 3 people.
3 people. Okay, Maharaj. I'll put it in the main group.
So group 1 will do, first of all, the Plaksha Dweep. And group 2, Samala Dweep. Group 3, Kusha Dweep. Group 4, Krocha Dweep. Group 5, Shaka Dweep. And group 6, Pushkara Dweep.
Okay, Maharaj.
We just want to know what's happening there, what's surrounding, what kind of ocean is on either side, and who lives there, and tell us about the place, and who they're worshipping, and how they're worshipping. That's an important part, actually. Right?
Okay. How much time do we have, Maharaj?
Well, 10 minutes should be enough.
Okay, Maharaj.
There's very short description. The prayers are very short here. Okay?
Okay, I'll create the group, Maharaj, now.
Okay, thank you. Jai Govinda Prabhu. I think we could close the rooms now.
Okay, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaji.
Maharaj, our first group is supposed to talk about the Plakshatvipa. Plakshatvipa is the double in the size of Jambudvipa, and the Plakshatvipa is governed by Itmadrija, son of Prithu, one of the son of Priyavrata. And because of the one tree which is called as Plaksha tree, this island got the name of Plaksha Dvipa. And this tree is very huge, and roots are with fire with 7 flames. And here this is surrounded by sugarcane juice ocean, and it's 200,000 yojanas, double of Jambudvipa. And the inhabitants live for 1,000 years, and they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead as represented by Sun God. Amrita Padma, you can continue. Thank you, Maharaj.
So they lived for 1,000 years. How long did the people on Jambudvip live for? Do you remember on the Bhaumaswarga region? How long were they living there? The residents in Bhaumaswarg, the 8 regions on Jambudvip. There's Bharatvarsh.
10,000 years.
Yeah, that's right, 10,000 years, right. But here, on this Plakshadvip, they're living for 1,000 years. But still, very similar. They're like demigods. And it said also about the pregnancy of the women is also like demigods. So how is it? What is the specific nature of their pregnancy? How do they give birth?
They give birth the very last 1 year before they actually give up their bodies. And so it's only at that year they are pregnant.
Right. And the child they give birth immediately, they can give birth immediately. Just like when Kunti got her benediction to call the demigods, when she gave birth, you know, she didn't have to undergo pregnancy for 9 months. She immediately delivered the child. So it's like that with the demigods. They have a very different kind of existence compared to our own. So you mentioned that on one side, what is between Jambudvip and Plakshadvip? There's an ocean of what?
Salt water.
Salt water. And on the other side of Plakshadvip?
Sugarcane juice.
Sugarcane juice. Okay. So, and they're worshipping the sun god.
Yes, Maharaj.
Can you tell us something about the sun god?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
In shloka number 5, it's telling that Lord, this is they feel that reflection of Lord Vishnu, Sun God is, and he is the Lord who is all expanding, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So they are thinking the Sun God as the representation of the Lord, reflection of the Lord. That's why they are praying him.
Okay. Do you know the prayer in the Brahma Samhita about the sun god?
Yes, Maharaj. Check Shuddha.
Yes, go ahead, say it.
Etyadhyaya Brahmati Samritakala Chitta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And the others of Lord Govinda, actually the sun god is roaming around on the wheels of time. That's why he's controlling.
Yes, right. He's mounting the wheel of time. So he controls time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And the sun is compared to which part of the body of the Lord?
Eyes, ma'am.
The eye of the Lord, right. We are all dependent on the sun. Without the sun, we cannot see anything. So we're very much dependent on the sun. Why else do we depend on the sun? Apart from seeing. Why else?
Energy, Maharaj.
Energy? What? Solar energy?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Use the energy for what?
To perform the activities. Just without the sun god's appearance, we cannot be active.
I don't know if that's, sometimes, it's so hot here, sometimes I feel, I wish it wasn't so hot, I could have more energy. The heat makes us all so tired.
Yeah.
It takes away our energy, the heat.
But it's the source of the life also, Maharaj.
The source of life, right, yes. Source of life. For what? The sun is the source of life for? You're not farming people, eh? You don't do agricultural work. You need the sun to grow. For vegetables.
All the plants, yeah.
Huh?
But the plants' life also.
Yeah, plants, right. Plants.
Rain
life.
Rainfall also.
Of course, we need the rain also, yes, but the sun is also important. How could they do the harvest? How could they harvest the rice and the wheat if there was no sun? So it provides heat and light also to see everything.
In schools, they used to tell them, Maharaj, photosynthesis, we need sunlight.
Yes, we need sunlight. And also, what about the sun god? How did Krishna use the sun god?
He is a reflection of Lord Vishnu.
No. Krishna.
Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
He imparts the Vedic knowledge to the sun god.
Yes. You know the verse, Bhagavad Gita?
Yes. Yeah. Imam vivasvate yogam sautavanaham abhyavim vivasvan manave praha manurikshvakave vritti.
Yes. Translation?
I imparted this imperishable scientific knowledge to the sun god Vivasvan. Vivasvan imparted to his son Manu. Manu imparted his knowledge to his son Ikshvaku.
Okay, very good. Yes, right. So Krishna, the sun god, Lord Krishna gives the sun god the knowledge. He speaks the Bhagavad Gita, and it's like a line of disciplic succession. Right? But that line was broken. In course of time, the knowledge was lost, and Lord Krishna had to come again and re-establish. And we also see with the Kshatriyas. There's the dynasty of the Kshatriyas comes from the sun god, right? Who was born in the dynasty coming from the sun god?
Lord Ramachandra.
Yes, Lord Ramachandra appears in the line coming from the sun god. Very good. Okay. So, what about the prayer offered? How did they pray to the sun god? Did you get a chance to look at the prayer?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes?
In shloka number 5,
Yes, text number 5, right.
let us take shelter of the sun god, who is the reflection of Lord Vishnu,
Okay.
the all expanding supreme personality of Godhead, the oldest of all persons.
The oldest of all persons, yeah. You'll see later on in the chapter, it describes that one of the names of the Lord is Mritaba, that he brought life into a dead planet. It's only when the sun comes into this planet, then life begins. Without the sun, there was no light. So the sun is very important in the universe. Okay. Anything else we can think about the sun god? Prabhupada writes in the purport, although the worship of the sun god, I'm sharing the screen, I think. You can see it?
Yes, Maharaj.
You can see the screen, yeah? So this, the purport of text number 5 here. Although the worship of the sun god is recommended in this mantra, he is worshipped not as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but as his powerful representative. Right? So, a distinction. We have to worship, we can worship the sun god, but worship him in the proper way. And what is the result of people worshipping the sun god? Where are they going to go? Are they going to go back to Godhead?
Yanti Deva Vrita Devan Pitrun Yanti Pitru Vrita.
Yes, right.
Whoever is worshipping the sun god, he will go to the sun planet.
Yes, right. They'll go to the sun planet, right. From Prabhupada's purport, people who are almost blind because of lusty desires are recommended to worship the demigods, to have their material desires fulfilled. But actually, those desires are not fulfilled by the material demigods. Whatever the demigods do is done with the sanction of Lord Vishnu. People who are too lusty worship various demigods instead of worshipping Lord Vishnu, the super soul of all living entities. But ultimately it is Lord Vishnu they worship, because he is the super soul of all demigods. So the demigods also have Lord Vishnu in their heart as a super soul. Alright? And then text 6 describes more about the qualities of the residents of Plakshadweep. Longevity, sensory prowess, physical and mental strength, intelligence and bravery, all manifested equally in the inhabitants. Okay, then let's hear from the next group. They're going to tell us about the next island.
Next island.
Yes.
Thanks, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Next island is Salmali Deep, which is the master of Salmali Deep is Vaibhava, who is the son of Maharaj Priyavrata, and he divided this island into 7 parts and gave to his 7 sons for ruling.
Yes?
March, continuing from there, there is also a mention that the Shalma Dvipa, there is a Shalmali tree from which the island took its name. This tree specifically is 100 yojanas broad, or which is 800 miles, or 1,100 yojanas tall, which is 8,800 miles. And this tree is the residence of Garuda, who offers Lord Vishnu a lot of Vedic prayers. And then we see that the son of Maharaj Priyavata, who is Yajnabahu, he is the master of this Shalmali Dvipa. He divided the land into 7 tracts, which Om Govind Prabhu mentioned. And I think the last part, Nandakishore Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In the last, it's mentioned that what prayers are being offered to the moon god, and it's said that the inhabitants of Shalmala Dweep are praying that they mention that the moon god has divided time, a full month, into 2 fortnights. One is called Shukla and other is Krishna. And this he does in order to distribute food grains to the Pitas and the demigods. Thus they refer to him as the moon who is dividing time, and he is the king of all residents of the universe. And they pray to him that may he remain their king and guide. And in that way they offer their obeisances unto the moon god. Thank you.
Can you tell us something about the moon? How is it? Are there some references about the moon in Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. In the 15th chapter, verse 13, it said, Gam avishya cha bhutani dharayami ahamojasa pushnami choshadi sarvaha soma bhutvo rasatmakaha. Where the Lord says that He's entering into every planet, and it's because of His energy that the planets stay in the orbit, and the Lord becomes the moon and therefore supplies the juice of life to all the vegetables.
Okay. The juice of life to all the vegetables. Without the moon, the vegetables will have no taste. Actually, you find it like that nowadays, because I know in China, they grow the vegetables they grow them in a plastic tent. They have these huge plastic tents, and they grow them in there because then they don't get all the snow or the ice, and they have these special tents for growing things. But because the tents don't get the rays of light the same, so the vegetables don't have taste. The conditions are so artificial. This is Kali Yuga. The vegetables and the food which we grow, the quality is much deteriorated from how it used to be. So the moon also, we have the dynasty of the Kshatriya kings coming from the moon, right? Who appeared in the line from the moon?
Lord Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna.
Yes, right. Lord Krishna appeared in the moon, right? It is said that Lord Krishna appeared on the 8th day of the moon, but the moon was so joyful that the Lord was appearing in his line that the moon was full on that particular occasion. Anything else about the moon?
Maharaj, also there is in Bhagavad Gita, there is one more reference in 10th chapter, Nakshatrana Maham Sheshi.
Yes. Can you give me the English translation?
Of the stars, I am the moon.
Okay. Of the stars, or of the nakshatras, I am the moon.
Of the nakshatras, I am the moon. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Krishna's vibhutis. So, people worship the moon god, some people worship the sun god. I remember in Bombay, in Mumbai, there's those Parsi people, right? The Parsi people, who do they worship?
They worship fire god, Maharaj.
The fire god, okay, so we're going to hear about the fire god now. That's the next one, I think. Krushadweep. Alright, who's going to speak on the Krushadweep?
Ramananda Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Chandrapana Maharaj. Yeah. Maharaj, the Kushadvipa, the slokas are from 13, explains about the Kushadvipa from 13 to 17, Maharaj.
Okay.
So, Kushadvipa, it is surrounded by an ocean of liquid ghee, and it is as broad as the island itself. And the dimensions of the Kushadvipa is 800,000 yojanas. It is equal to 64 lakhs miles wide.
So on one side there's ghee, what's on the other side?
A liquor. Yes, but the outside of the ocean of the liquor is this Kushadvipa, is the liquor, ocean of liquor.
Oh, Kushadweep is surrounded by an ocean of... Kushadweep is surrounded by an ocean of ghee. So Malidweep was surrounded by liquor. So liquor is on the inside of the Kushadweep, and on the outside of the Kushadweep is the ghee.
Ghee.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And in the Kushadvipa, there are clumps of kusha grass. So, and this kusha grass was created by the demigods, by the will of the Supreme Lord. And it appears like a second form of the fire, which is very mild and with the pleasing flames. And it illuminates in all directions.
Yes. And Prabhupada's purport, he has an interesting purport. He talks about his own conviction. Can you tell us? What does Prabhupada say about it?
Here it talks about the flames on the moon, however, unlike those on the sun, must be mild and pleasing. This is our conviction. So, the modern theory that the moon is full of dust is not accepted in the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the modern theory talks about the moon is full of dust, so which is as told by the scientists and the astronauts, who tells that they have seen they landed in the moon and then explains. So this is not at all accepted in this the verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And also in this purport, Prabhupada explains about Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura saying that the kusha grass illuminates in all directions, but its flames are very mild and pleasing. So this gives some idea of the flames existing on the moon also.
Okay. And who are they worshipping here?
Fire god.
Fire god, man.
Okay. And how do they worship?
While they are following the four varnashram system, they are worshipping the Supreme Personality in the form of fire.
Yes. Usually,
Maharaj in sloka number 16, it explains about how they perform the ritualistic ceremonies. So they do the ritualistic ceremonies according to the orders of the Vedic scriptures. And thus they worship the Lord in this aspect as the demigod of fire.
Yes, the demigod of fire. In the Vayu Purana, there's a statement that the Earth planet, you know, the Earth planet, there's a lot of water on the Earth planet, but actually the basis of the Earth planet is Earth. It's a concentrated Earth. And on the moon, the Sun planet, it's the concentration is more on fire. But on the moon planet, they said the moon planet is concentrated water. That's the difference between these different places. So that, well, not just here in, we're talking here about Bhumandala, but in the universal system, the moon planet is made up of concentrated water, and the Earth is Earth itself, and the Sun, of course, there are people there on the Sun planet. People are, you know, of course, here on this planet, they think, how is it possible any life could be there? But life is everywhere. Living entities are everywhere. Just the point is that on the Sun planet, the composition of the bodies will be different. The composition of the bodies of the living entities on the Sun planet will be predominantly fire. To live in that fiery atmosphere, they have to have a fiery body. And similarly, on other planets, the life will be there, but in different compositions, not like our own earthly bodies. And as you go to the higher planets, like in Swarga and up Brahmaloka and so on, everything becomes more and more subtle. And there's no gross body. This is difficult for people to understand how, you know, we tend to be very limited in how we understand life. We think of life only as we know it, as we can see with our eyes. And when we hear about beings having celestial bodies, they think, oh, it's just some story, just some fairy tale, it's not really true, and no facts. But the Vedas, and here in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's very clearly indicated how these different demigods can come. Now, sometimes they will come and be visible, but often they will come, they will not be visible. They're not obliged. If they want to show themselves to someone, they can. But they're not obliged. Their forms are like that. Their forms are subtle. So, cannot be perceived, just like the mind cannot be seen. But we have a mind, an intelligence, we have these things, but we can't see it. So the demigods, they have also subtle forms, which we're not able to see so clearly. So on the different planets, different living entities will have these different bodies. So Mantra 17 describes how they worship the fire god. O fire god, you are a part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, and you carry to him all the offerings of sacrifice. Therefore, we request you to offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead the yajnic ingredients we are offering, the demigods. For the Lord is the real enjoyer. So the devotees in Kushadweep are asking the fire god to carry their offering and give it to the Lord. Just like we know when we do the yagya, when you do the fire sacrifice, then that fire is like the tongue of the Lord. And we offer the grains and the ghee onto the tongue of the Lord in the form of the fire. And Prabhupada gives a nice example about the tax collector is taking money from all the citizens, but then he gives it to the government office, to the treasury. It's not for him. He's only collecting on behalf of the government. So the same way the demigods, they accept the offerings, it's not for them, but it's for offering to the Supreme Lord. Just to read from Prabhupada's purport here, text 17. Similarly, all the demigods, as faithful servants of the Supreme Lord, hand over to the Supreme Lord whatever is offered to them in sacrificial performances. There is no fault in worshipping the demigods with this understanding, but to think that the demigods are independent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and equal to Him is called Ritagyana, a loss of intelligence. Kamaistasya Ritagyana prapadyante naya devata. Right? So one who thinks that the demigods themselves are the actual benefactors is mistaken. All right, so fire, the sun, and the moon, very basic, very important ingredients in everything. We need the sun for the heat and light. Fire is very important. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about the fire of digestion. That we need to have that fire in the body, in the belly, to digest food. If we have no digestion, then we have no appetite. We don't want to eat. That's a serious problem. So that fire there in the belly, and the fire which is used to create energy, generally we use fire to generate electricity, which is used to provide so much power everywhere. Fire for cooking, baking, fire for heating, molding things. So fire is a very important element in the universe, and the fire god, very important personality. So he's being worshipped here. So we heard the moon god, the sun god is worshipped, the moon god is worshipped, and the fire god is worshipped. Okay, we'll go ahead. The next group, we're going to hear about Krochadweep.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I have obeisances to you. The fourth island is Kranchadweepa. The inner circle is surrounded by ocean of clarified butter, and the outer circle it is surrounded by ocean of milk. And this is actually having the width of twice of the width of the previous inner circle of clarified butter, like 128 lakhs miles. And the worshipable deity is Varuna. They are worshipping the Lord in the form of water, the energy of the Lord.
This situation, what is to be done, we don't know the procedure.
Hare Krishna.
I can't say 100% we will.
Okay. And in the Kranchadweep, there is a great mountain known as Krancha. So the name actually came after that mountain. The dweep becomes Kranchadweepa. And the vegetables were actually living on the slopes of Mount Krancha were attacked and devastated by Kartikeya. But because of the energy of milk, the whole vegetation is protected by Varuna Deva. The ruler of the island is one of the son of Maharaj Priyavrata. His name was Grita Prishta. And he was very learned scholar. He divided the whole island into seven land, and each land has one mountain and one river. He has divided the 7 land into his 7 sons, and the names are given. His 7 sons' names are given, and the mountain names are mentioned in text 21. Ama, Madhurukha, Meghaprastha, Sudama, Brajishta, Lokitarna, and Vanapasti. And similarly, 7 rivers are also mentioned. And the inhabitants of the Kranchadipa are divided into 4 castes: Purushas, Rishabhas, Dravinas, and Devakas. They actually sanctified, they purified themselves by these rivers, the 7 rivers. And they worship Varuna. They actually consider the water as the energy of the Lord. They indirectly worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are worshipping that in the 23rd verse. They are offering prayers like this. O water of the rivers, you have obtained energy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you purify the 3 planetary systems known as Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, and Svargaloka. By your constitutional nature, you take away sins, and that is why we are touching you. Kindly continue to purify us. So they are worshipping the Lord in the form of water.
Can you tell us something about Varuna Dev? Do you know any of the pastimes of Varuna Dev?
Govardhana Leela, that is Indra. What Indra? Varuna Dev.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Lord Ramachandra was angry at Varuna.
I'm sorry, what?
Lord Ramachandra was angry at Lord Varuna.
Yes, can you tell us why?
Because he wanted to create that bridge, so he was calling Varuna and he was not appearing. And then he decided to, Lord Ramachandra was angry and he wanted to punish. At that time Varuna appeared, and then he divides the ocean into 2 halves, and then Lord Rama was able to build the bridge.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
In Srimad Bhagavatam, Nanda Maharaj is arrested by Varuna's
Yes, right.
taking.
Yes.
That time actually Varuna they want to have darshan of the Lord. So in that way, Krishna and Balaram, they went and released the father from the bonds of Varuna.
Why did Nanda Maharaj get arrested?
He has taken the bath, which we are not supposed to take at that time. Few minutes before the bathing time, he took bath on Ekadashi day.
Yes, at the end of the Ekadasi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he got arrested by a foolish servant of Varuna. Actually, Nanda Maharaj didn't do anything wrong, but the servant of Varuna was foolish. And then what happened when Lord Krishna came there?
Varuna asked for the forgiveness and he prayed the Lord. So he could have the darshan of the Lord.
Yes. Nanda Maharaj was surprised to see how much respect Varuna had for Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna came there, Varuna Dev was worshipping Krishna. So Nanda Maharaj was surprised because Nanda Maharaj was thinking, Krishna's my son. So he was surprised.
After that, he recollected what Gargamuni taught. He was discussing with his friends about the Gargamuni's words after this incident also.
I'm sorry, I can't understand what you're saying.
No, he was discussing with his friends that Gargamuni already he predicted that he is a not normal child.
Yeah, that he would cross over all difficulties. They would be able to overcome all difficulties by the grace of Lord Krishna. Right. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Yes?
Also, even Bali Maharaj also was bound by the ropes of Varuna.
Oh, yes, very nice. Yes, Bali Maharaj was bound up by the ropes of Varuna. All right. Very nice examples.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes?
Even in Varaha Leela also, Varuna Deva will inspire, enthuse Hiranyaksha to fight with, I am not a suitable person to fight.
Yes.
I am old. For you, suitable person is Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes. I think Sindhi people have the custom to worship Varuna. They call it Julilal, right? They call him, there's the name Julilal. They have a deity, Julilal. And
Yes, Maharaj. Julilal.
That's Varuna?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, I know that in the Hindu temple in Hong Kong, they have a Julilal deity there. It's very popular for the Sindhi people. So here the residents of Kroncha Dweep are offering their prayers to Lord Varuna, and they're asking Lord Varuna that purify us through your energy, the water of the rivers. So taking bath in the rivers is so nice, right? When you bathe in the river, you go to Ganga or somewhere like that, where there's a nice flowing river and you can take bath, especially when it's very hot and humid. You can go and bathe in the river. It's so purifying. So the residents of Kroncha Dweep, they're saying, please kindly continue to purify us. You take away sins. That is why we are just by touching these rivers, takes away sins and purifies us. But of course, bathing in the holy rivers will purify after a long time. But how can we get purified quickly?
Maharaj, by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra.
Right. And by the association of nice devotees. Yes, right. By the grace of the Vaishnava Thakur, it will purify very quickly. So the energies in the river, energy in the sun and the moon, this energy is coming from the Lord. In Prabhupada's purport there, text number 23, the energy of the Lord acts throughout the creation. Just as heat and light, the energies of the sun act within the universe and make everything work. The specific rivers mentioned in the Shastras are also energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and people who regularly bathe in them are purified. It can actually be seen that many people are cured of a disease simply by bathing in the Ganga. Similarly, the inhabitants of Kroncha Dweep purify themselves by bathing in the rivers there. Very nice. All right, next group, Shaka Dweep.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Danda Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. Shakadeep is around 32,000 yojanas in width, and an inner circle is surrounded by ocean of milk, and the outer circle is by ocean of churned yogurt. And there is a big shaka tree which is very fragrant, and which its fragrance covers the entire island. And the master of the island is the son of Priyavarta, known as Mehatithi, and he has divided the island into 7 sections to his 7 sons, which is named after his sons: Projava, Manajava, Pavanama, Duranika, and Chetaraha, Bahurupa, and Vishwarada. And he is, after dividing it, he has retired himself and he has gone into meditation, his mind fixed in the lotus feet of Supreme Personality of Godhead.
All right, who do they worship there?
Maharaj, Shobha Mataji will continue now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandvat Pranam. They worship Supreme Lord in the form of Vayu actually. And here it is saying that in the land there are 7 boundary mountains and 7 rivers. And the mountains are Isana, Purisringa, Belabhadra, Satakesara, Sahasrasrota, Devapala and Mahanasa. Then the 7 rivers are Anakha, Ayurda, Upayasprishti, Aparajita, Panchavadi, Sahasrasruti and Nijathriti. And then the inhabitants of this island are divided into 4 castes. The name of the castes are Ritavrata, Satyavrata, Danavrata and Anuvrata. And it is exactly resembled Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, the 4 orders of the society. And they practice pranayama and mystic yoga. And in trance, they worship the Supreme Lord in the form of Vayu. And they are praying, O Supreme Person, situated as the super soul within the body, you direct the various actions of different airs, such as prana, and thus you maintain all living entities. O Lord, may you protect us from all dangers. And Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, he says that through the mystic yoga practice called pranayama, the yogi controls the airs within the body to maintain the body in a healthy condition. And in this way, yogi comes to the point of trance and tries to see the super soul within the core of the heart. Pranayama is the means to attain samadhi, trance, in order to fully absorb oneself in seeing the Supreme Lord as Antaryami, the super soul within the core of heart. Hare Krishna.
So, do you do pranayama?
Yeah, Yama Niyama and that Ashtanga Yoga.
Are you doing pranayam?
I'm sorry, Maharaj, I'm not doing it.
So you know any people who do this pranayam?
Yes, here a lot of people are doing yoga, and that is actually pranayama that I don't know whether they are doing this pranayama or not.
Generally, the Ashtanga yogis who do the pranayam, right? It's one, but Prabhupada calls the pranayam the nose pressing yoga. The nose pressing yoga. You press with the left nostril and then breathe in the right nostril and then breathe out in the left nostril and breathe in, you know, like that. And you press the one side of the nose, then the other side of the nose. So as Prabhupada says, certainly mentioned here, this is to keep the body in a healthy condition. And we need to have a healthy body for the service of Lord Krishna. So certainly very important. But the real purpose of the healthy condition is that we can fix the mind on the super soul within the core of the heart. And come to the stage, pranayama is a means to come to samadhi, right? Pranayama, then pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. And so pranayama is the 4th stage and samadhi is the 8th stage. So it's all different levels of concentration, meditation, and pranayama is a preliminary means to that. Certainly, by pranayama, people can prolong their life. And Prabhupada spoke about that. He said, like at Kumbh Mela, he said when Kumbh Mela takes place, there will be people who come there. He said some of them are coming from caves in the Himalayas, and they may be hundreds of years old, but they just look like ordinary people. You can't tell. He said they can do pranayama, they're doing pranayama, and they control their breath, and they have the breath under so much control that they can prolong their life to hundreds of years. But of course, what is the good of that? What is the good of a long life? Like a tree. Just to have a long life. Trees also live a long time. But what's the good? That consciousness. Lord Chaitanya was in this world only 48 years and Shankaracharya spent only 32 years, but they made great contributions. So Prabhupada said, better one moment of full consciousness than a lifetime like a tree. Anyway, pranayama is the system which is described here, how they're worshipping the Lord in the form of Vayu. Do we know anything about Vayu, Lord Vayu? Anybody know any information about Lord Vayu? Can think of anything?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, in Bhagavad Gita it is saying that Vayu carries fragrance, like that living entity also carries different conceptions of body. That also is, that is Shariram Yadavapnodi Echapyukramati Grihito Idani Samyadi Vayur Gandhani Vasyat.
I thought it said like the air carries the aroma.
Air carries the aroma, yeah.
So Vayu, generally we think of Vayu as the wind god, right?
Yes.
So, who was the son of Vayu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, one is Bhima and one is Hanuman.
Hanuman, right, and Bhima, yeah.
Bhima also.
Yeah. And they had a pastime together, right? When Bhima went up the Himalayas, there was an old monkey laying on the path.
Yeah.
He was not removing his tail.
Right, he wouldn't move. He said, you move me. And then Bhima tried to move, he couldn't move him. And then he understood, oh, you must be my brother. So they were brothers. So Hanuman gave a benediction to Bhima. Where did Hanuman reside?
On the flag, Maharaj.
On whose flag?
Flag. Chariot of Arjuna.
Right, on the flag. Yeah, Kapidwaja, right, on the flag of Arjuna. And he said, whenever you need me, you yell and I will come. Or just the yell of Hanuman would be there to support. Who else is connected to Vayu?
Maharaj, Madhvacharya is also an incarnation.
Right, that's right, yes. Madhvacharya, yes. And what did Madhvacharya do? Actually, it's a pastime. He went to the Himalayas, right? And he was up at Badarik Ashram. And in Badarik Ashram, there's a deity of Vyasadeva. So he was reading his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita to the deity of Vyasadeva. And then a voice spoke to him. A voice spoke to him, said, come outside, I want to speak to you in private. So Madhvacharya went outside and he was carried by the wind god. He was carried to the upper region of Badarik Ashram. There's the earthly Badarik Ashram and there's the higher Badarik Ashram. So Madhvacharya was taken up there because he's the son of Vayu, so Vayu could transport him up to the higher region, and there he directly met Srila Vyasadeva. Not just the deity, but Srila Vyasadeva was there in the higher Badarik Ashram. And so Madhvacharya read his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita to Vyasadeva, and Vyasadeva said, yes, very nice, very good. You preach this, you go everywhere and preach this knowledge everywhere. So this is some pastimes of Vayu. Okay, so we'll go ahead. We still have, the next island is Pushkara Dweep.
Yes, Maharaj. Maharaj, next to Shakadweep, it is Pushkara Dweep, which is surrounded by, the outer circle is surrounded by ocean of yogurt, and next we have this Pushkara Dweep. Again, it is surrounded by ocean of sweet water, that is tasteful water. And the dimensions, it is 6,400,000 yojanas, and it is twice as the ocean of yogurt. That is the size of this Dvipa, Maharaj. And in this Dvipa there is a lotus flower with 100,000 pure golden petals, which are as effulgent as flame of fire. And this lotus flower is considered to be the sitting place of Brahma. And in the middle of this island, there's a great mountain named as Manasottara, which form the boundary between inner side and outer side of the island. And its breadth and height are 10,000 yojanas. On that mountain, in the four directions, are the residential quarters of demigods, such as Indra. And in the chariot of sun god, the sun travels on the top of mountain in an orbit called Samvatsara, encircling the Mount Meru. The suns travel for 6 months in the direction of northern, which is called as Uttarayana, and another 6 months he travels towards southern direction, which is called as Dakshinayana. And this will form the day and night for the demigods.
Yes.
And further, Maharaj, this island is ruled by the Priyamvrata's son. His name is Vihihotra, and who is assisted by two of his sons, Ramanaka and Dataki. And in this planet, they are worshipping Lord Brahma, and they consider Brahma as very, very powerful. So they offer their prayers to him, because they consider Brahma is a karma maya, and he performs the ritualistic ceremonies, and by doing that one will attain the position, and because of Vedic ritualistic hymn become manifest with him, and he is very much devoted to the Supreme Lord Narayana, and therefore in one sense he is non-different from the Lord. And again, they don't worship as a monist, but they will worship in a duality. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentioned, the Veda says, Swadharma nishta shata janmabihi puman virinchitam eti. If one follows Varnashrama Dharma very nicely for 100 births, then he will be awarded the post of Lord Brahma. So this is about this Pushkara Dvip, Maharaj.
Okay, thank you. So Pushkara means lotus, I understand. And you can see it's a very special lotus which is being described there. 100 million petals of gold. Not an ordinary lotus, but very special. Of course, it's the seat of Brahma, we're told also. So very nice. And they pray to the Lord. They offer their prayers unto Lord Brahma, the form of manifest Vedic knowledge. So Lord Brahma is called Brahma Linga, which indicate that his entire form consists of Vedic knowledge. So it's almost like you can understand, he doesn't have a gross form, it's a subtle form. His entire form consists of Vedic knowledge. So Brahma, of course, is only worshipped at Pushkar. That's the famous pastime that he was cursed by his wife because he took a second wife, couldn't wait for his wife to come, and so she cursed him that he would only be worshipped at one place, and that place was Pushkar. So here we have Pushkara Dvip, and it's the outermost region of the Bhumandala. It's the outermost island anyway, ruled by one of the sons of Priyavrata. So Priyavrata had 7 sons, and there's 7 islands here mentioned, and each son has been given an island and ruling, and they're worshipping a particular form or a particular expansion or demigod. And here in Pushkara Dweep, they're worshipping Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma is usually worshipped at Pushkara Dweep, so this is proper, right? This is in line, right? Lord Brahma can only be worshipped at Pushkar. And so this is Pushkara Dweep, so it's not going against the curse. They're keeping the curse. All right, so Lord Brahma, he's our Adi Guru in our Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. He's one of the 4 Sampradayas, along with Lakshmi, 4 Kumaras and Lord Shiva. And Lord Chaitanya took his initiation in this line, coming from Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma, he enjoys Sakya Ras relationship. It said in this universe, at this time, the Lord Brahma has a friendship relationship with Lord Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam describes how the Lord shook hands with Brahma.
Hare Krishna Bharat, can I ask one question?
All right.
So all these places also, they don't have the understanding that pure devotional service is the highest. They're worshipping the different demigods, understanding the representative of Krishna, or like...
Yeah, well, they're worshipping these demigods with the understanding that they are part of Krishna, right? So we're told, you know, that this is the indirect worship of the Lord, you could say. But they do recognize that these are demigods, that they're not the Supreme Lord. Okay, so beyond the ocean, text 34, beyond the ocean of sweet water, fully surrounding it, is a mountain named Loka Loka, which divides the countries that are full of sunlight from those not lit by the sun. So you can imagine where there's no sun, you know, there are regions on our own planet. You go to some places, you know, like if you go up in northern part of Finland, it's called the land of the midnight sun in the summertime. In the summertime, they have sunlight until midnight, but in the winter they have no sun. No light, no sunlight at all. And so it's like that. And there are parts of like that in Russia as well, northern regions of the universe, of the planet Earth. You don't get light. So there's a region here on Bhumandala which says it's called Loka Loka. Aloka. Aloka means no people, no place. Loka means people, where there are people. And Aloka, no people. So it's lit. It's not lit by the sun. And beyond the ocean of sweet water, which was around the outside of Pushkara Dweep, is a tract of land as broad as the area between the middle of Mount Sumeru and the boundary of Manasotara Mountain. So Manasotara Mountain is important because it was mentioned that the sun god also, he drives his chariot around on the Manasotara Mountain. Right? That's mentioned there in the purport of text number 30. In the chariot of the sun god, the sun travels on the top of the mountain in an orbit called the Samvatsara, encircling Mount Meru. So it's described that the sun travels on the top of the Manasotara mountain, but it doesn't touch the Manasotara mountain. That would be too bumpy to go on the top of the mountain. So there's a pocket of air for 100 yojanas. There's a pocket of air which goes right around the mountain, right around the Manasotara mountain. and the sun god rides his chariot on that pocket of air which goes around the mountain. Okay, so the boundary of Manasutari mountain. In that tract of land, there are many living beings. So there's a tract of land, Loka, there's many people. But beyond it, extending to the Loka mountains, is another land which is made of gold. And because of its golden surface, it reflects light like the surface of a mirror. And any physical article that falls on that land can never be perceived again. All living entities, therefore, have abandoned that golden land. So right around Pushkara Dweep, outside Pushkara Dweep, we have the ocean of pure water, sweet water, and then you have this golden land. And on this golden land, there's no people. On the golden land, there's no people. And then between the lands inhabited by the living entities and those that are uninhabited stands the great mountain which separate the two and which is therefore celebrated as Lok Aloka. So between the land, on one side are the living entities and on the other side is uninhabited. In the middle, there's this mountain, huge mountain, huge mountain, goes all the way up to Dhruvaloka, and it separates the two. It separates Loka from Aloka. So the mountain is called Loka. So it has, the Srimad Bhagavatam states, text 37, by the will of Krishna, the mountain known as Loka has been installed as the outer border of the three worlds, Bhur, Bhuvar and Swar, to control the rays of the sun throughout the universe. So the rays of the sun are only up to Loka mountain. On the other side of Loka mountain, there's no sun, there's nothing. No people, no sun, nobody goes there. But up to Loka mountain, that's where you've got the inhabitants. All the luminaries from the sun up to Dhruvaloka distribute their rays throughout the three worlds, but only within the boundary formed by this mountain. Because it's extremely high, extending even higher than Dhruvaloka, it blocks the rays of the luminaries, which therefore can never extend beyond it. So we're getting some information, interesting information about the geography of the universe here. We're hearing about, first of all, we heard about Saptadweeps. The Saptadweeps, the 7 islands, and then outside Saptadweep you have the Golden Land, and then outside that you have the mountain, Loka mountain, and then on the other side of Loka, nothing. In the purport, Prabhupada writes, this vivid description of how the rays of the sun are distributed throughout the different planetary system of the universe is very scientific. Sukadeva Goswami described these universal affairs to Maharaj Parikshit as he had heard about them from his predecessors. So, Prabhupada's explaining how we have to accept this. This is coming through the parampara. And then Prabhupada gets into explaining about modern science. And the history of science is only 200 years, a few hundred years. What do they know? They don't accept They don't accept Srimad Bhagavatam, but Prabhupada said, how can they deny the perfect astronomical calculations that existed long before they could imagine such things? So there is so much information, very perfect, accurate information with figures and distances and positions of different planets. It's all there. There's even one planet in the universe. It was only discovered a couple of hundred years ago, but it was told about in the scriptures thousands of years ago. So Prabhupada said, there is so much information to gather from Srimad Bhagavatam. Modern scientists, however, have no information of other planetary systems, and indeed are hardly conversant with the planet on which we are now living. So what do they know? Scientists don't know anything. All right, so going ahead, 38 describes that they have established the truth of that the distance between Sumeru and the mountain known as Lokaloka is 1/4 of the diameter of the universe, or in other words, 1,000 million miles, or 1 billion miles, or 125 million yojanas. 1 yojana being 8 miles. So this is the distance between Sumeru and the mountains known as Lokaloka. That's up to where people are living. After that, nothing. So then Prabhupada says, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he's given a lot of information and he did a lot of calculations. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur was also a very learned astrologer. So he knew all about the planets and the movements, and he did calculations. And Prabhupada has quoted it here, but it's all in Sanskrit. So I don't know quite what the translation is. The whole text is Sanskrit. Maybe one day we'll be able to get the translation. If any of you know Sanskrit, you might like to go through it. Tell us what are the main points. Anyway, it's about, Prabhupada says, very difficult to put into English because it's very complicated Sanskrit statements. Some more information. 39 describes about 4 Gajapatis, 4 elephants, big elephants, which are put there to balance the Bhumandala, to balance the universe. They're put in the 4 directions by Lord Brahma, and we have the names of these elephants. They're responsible for maintaining the planetary system of the universe, to keep it level. Sometimes it may get unstable, so the elephants, their job is to keep it nice and level. Then text 40, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of all opulence and the master of the spiritual sky. He is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan. The demigods, led by Indra, the king of heaven, are entrusted with seeing to the affairs of the material world. Yeah, we heard on the mountain, Manasatotara mountain, the demigods also have their residencies there. Just as they have their residencies on top of Meru, they also have another residence there on Manasatara mountain. So they have their duties. They have to see the affairs of the material world. And to benefit all the living beings and the planets, to increase the power of the elephants and of the demigods, then the Lord himself manifests on top of that mountain in a spiritual body. So we're told the Lord personally appears, surrounded by his expansions and assistants like Vishwakshena, and he's fully decorated. All right, then text 41, the various forms such as Narayan and Vishnu are all decorated with different weapons. The Lord exhibits these forms to maintain all the varied planets created by his personal potency, Yoga Maya. So Yoga Maya is the Lord's potency for helping to create this, everything. And Prabhupada explains in the purport, the Lord not only maintains the material creation from start to finish, but he personally maintains the spiritual world. So the spiritual world, there's no annihilation of that. There's no creation, it's eternal. And the Lord personally oversees that. Okay, then text 42. Outside Lokaloka mountain is a tract of land known as Alokavarsh. No people, nothing there. Beyond the Lokavarsh is the destination of those who aspire for liberation from the material world. That's impersonal liberation. It is beyond the jurisdiction of the material modes of nature and therefore is completely pure. Lord Krishna took Arjuna through this place to bring back the sons of the Brahmana. Right? You all know that pastime?
Yes, Maharaj, that all the children were dying as soon as he would give birth, and then even Arjuna promised that he'll get the child back.
Yes.
And then they went to Mahavishnu. Is that the same pastime, Guru Maharaj?
Yes, right. Yeah, the children were all taken away. Arjuna had promised he'd give up his life if he couldn't save the children. So Arjuna's vow was, he'd promised he'd give up his life if he couldn't save the Brahmana's child. So Lord Krishna had to take him to go to find the children. So they got on the chariot and they went through the different regions and they came to this abode. It was just darkness, dense darkness. And Lord Krishna had to fire his Sudarshan chakra to make a hole in the darkness to get through it. So that was this region, through the place to bring back the sons of they got to the causal ocean and then they found the children, the Brahmana's sons were all there with Mahavishnu. So they had to go through all this region, go through this abode of liberation and go through this the abode called Aloka Varsha, where there's nothing, no people, just dense darkness. You know, we have darkness, but it's nothing like this darkness which is there. So the darkness was just solid. So Lord Krishna had to fire the Sudarshan chakra to make some area to go through. Okay, then text 43, we're told how the sun is in the middle of the universe, vertically, in the middle of the universe, so it lights everything in the area between Burloka, and so it's between Burloka and Bhuvarloka. Right? It's in the middle of the universe, it's directly above Mount Meru, and it's between Burloka and Bhuvarloka, which is called Antariksha, outer space. And the distance between the sun and the circumference of the universe, 2 billion miles. So, quite a big distance. You know, we read it here in this section of the Bhagavatam, we read about mountains which are so many 100 yojanas high. The highest mountain we have on the planet Earth is Mount Everest. It's only like about 9 kilometers high. It's only 9 kilometers high, but here in the Bhagavatam they're telling us about mountains which are, there's hundreds of, many yojanas high. So it's a totally different realm, what's being described. Because we're a small planet, Earth is only a small planet, so there's only very limited things, limited phenomena which can be displayed. We have to understand how tiny the Earth is in relation to the whole cosmic manifestation, and in relation to Bhumandala, even in relation to Bharatvarsha, it's not so great. Okay, so then we're told here the sun god is also called Vairaja, the total material body of all living entities. Because he entered the dull egg of the universe at the time of creation, he is also called Martanda. Martanda, the dead egg. He entered into the dead egg and he brought it to life, right? And he's called also Hiranyagarbha because he received the material body from Hiranyagarbha, Lord Brahma. Hiranya means gold, and Garbha, that womb, the cosmic womb. So Hiranyagarbha, because the sun god comes from Lord Brahma, so he can also be known by the same name as his father. And the Purport Prabhupada explains, whether Brahma is the Supreme Personality of Godhead or an ordinary living being, he is known as Vairaj Brahma and Hiranyagarbha Brahma. Therefore the sun god is also accepted as Vairaja Brahma. Okay, that pretty much covers everything. The sun god and the sun planet divide all the directions. It is only because of the sun that we can understand higher planets and lower planets and hellish planets. This is all due to the presence of the sun, or the lack of the sun. You can understand which regions are for liberation, which regions are hellish, and which regions are subterranean. All right. Okay, so that pretty much that's covered. We'll just do this last verse. All living entities, all different living entities, depend on the heat and light given by the sun god from the sun planet. That was brought up when we were talking about the sun, and therefore the Lord is called Drig Ishwara, the personality of Godhead, presiding over sight, because without the sun we cannot see anything. So the sun god is called Drig Ishwara, allowing us to see. Surya is the life and soul of this universe, and there are innumerable universes for which a sun god is the life and soul, just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the life and soul of the entire creation. All right, are there any questions or comments? Anything to be discussed? Is everyone keeping up? Are you following? We have been talking here about the 7 islands created by Priyavrata, and he gave each of the islands to one of his sons. He had 7 sons. In Jambudvip, there were 9 divisions, and the 9 divisions were given to the 9 sons of Bharat. So we're going on the next class, chapter 21, we'll hear about the movements of the sun. And we'll hear about how day and night take place and how the seasons come and eclipses and so on. So you can look over that chapter, 21. It's not a big chapter, but interesting information. Some devotees really get absorbed in this the cosmology, Vedic cosmology. Some devotees really specialize in it, and they do a lot of things, so make a lot of books and presentations on it. So if you like to study it more, very good. You can understand more about the universe. Okay, so we will stop here tonight. Thank you very much. Today's Ekadasi here. Is it Ekadasi there?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, so we should stop now. So I hope you had a good Ekadasi. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go back to Vrinda ki jai.